The first thing we're going to talk about is delta, and then we're going to talk about gamma, Vega, Theta, and Rho. They're the Greeks, okay? So let's get right to it. Delta. Delta is the measure of the option's value's sensitivity to the stock movement. Or in other words, how much will my option be worth if my stock moves $3? And that's good information to know, because most people will look and say, hey, how much is my price for my option today? And they look at it today, and they have no clue. They just know that generally stock options move up, or call options move up as stock prices move up. And they think the stock's going to go up, so they're going to buy an option and hope it goes up. Well, how much is it going to go up? And by understanding the Greeks and by understanding delta, we can actually figure out that if the stock moves $1, that option value will move up in the price of what the delta is. So let's use that as an example. Example number 1 here, we're going to use a stock price of $100. We're going to use the $100 call option price of $3. Okay, so that $100 call option is trading for $3 when the stock is at 100 bucks. Now, the option delta of this actual call option is 52 cents. Okay, now you can find the option delta several different ways. If you have a platform that you trade with your broker, I guarantee you'll be able to find the option delta. Everybody knows how to trade the Greeks now, generally, if you're trading options quite regularly. Okay, and delta is probably one of the most popular. You can also find it on Yahoo Finance and stuff like that if you need to. Okay, now the delta on this particular option is 52 cents. So what does that mean? Well, that means that if we have a $100 stock, the call option's at $3, the delta is 52 cents. If that stock moves to $101, what's our call premium going to be worth? Well, we're going to add the 52 cents to it, and it's going to be worth $3.52. Okay. Now, one thing I want you to notice is that the delta also moves up as the stock moves up, and we'll get into that now in a second, okay? But now we're trading at $101, our call premium's at $3.52, and our delta's at 57 cents. So if that stock goes to 102, what is our call premium going to be worth? Well, add the 57 cents, and we get 409. And we can do that again at $102, our delta's 62 cents, and the premium's 409. What's that call option going to be worth if we go to 103? Add 62 cents to the 409, and we get 471. Okay, so the option premium moves in the amount of the delta for every dollar or point that the stock moves. Let's go and look at one more thing that certain people use delta for. Okay, it's not too common nowadays because these platforms that all of these brokers have so much information. They do an awful lot of calculations, and one of the calculations that a lot of them will give you is the probability of that actual option. In this case, we have the $100 call option. Okay, what is the probability of that option trading in the money at expiration? And at this point right now, it's right around 62%. And that just so coincides with the delta of 0.62. So a lot of people use delta as kind of like a percentage chance of it being in the money at expiration. Your 62% chance of that $100 call option being in the money. Now, sometimes it may be off a little bit, let's say 3 or 4 percentage points, but it gives you a roundabout view as to the percentage chance that this call option is going to be in the money at expiration. Okay. So we're going to move on to gamma. Gamma is the delta of the delta. Okay, the measure of the change in delta for a 1 unit change in the price of the stock, and that's assuming all the other factors remain the same. Okay. Remember how the delta moved up in value? Okay, the delta went from 52 cents to 57 cents to 62 cents to 67 cents. Okay, now that change coincides with the gamma. Okay, so the delta went from 52 to 57 because the gamma was 5 cents. Okay, and one thing to keep in mind here is that notice how the gamma is going down as that stock goes up. Okay, there is a reason for that, and we'll get to it now in just a second. Okay, gamma is usually greater when you approach expiration. Okay, gamma is greatest for at-the-money options. Okay, and that's why when we go back to our last slide there, as the stock traded away from the at-the-money, so the $100 call option, when it was at $100, the gamma was 5 cents, but as it traded away from that, it actually decreased. Okay. Now we also use gamma to gauge the volatility of the delta. Okay, so if our stock moves up $1, our option price moves up what the delta is. We know that now. But what will our new delta be? Well, we know how to find that now by using the gamma. So we can gauge what our option will be worth if the stock moves up $2 now, because we know that the option will move up in the price of the delta. Then the delta will move up based on what the gamma is. Okay, and then we can go backwards again and see another point move to see what the option's going to be worth. So we put all this together to figure out where our option price should be if we're right with our stock picks. Now Vega is the next Greek we're going to talk about, and Vega is the change in option value that results from a 1 percentage point change in the volatility assumption, assuming all the other factors remain constant. Okay. In other words, how much will my option be worth if volatility increases 5%? Okay. Now we know that as volatility of the stock moves up and down, that affects our option prices. So let's take a look at this slide. Now, this is a very important slide, okay? We're looking at 5 different stocks here, all trading at $100. The difference between the stocks, or I should say the difference between the options on those stocks, is that they all have different volatility, okay? So, I've got the volatility on the right and the call premiums in the middle there. Okay, you should note that a stock with 26% volatility is trading a whole $1.60 cheaper than the stock with a 40% volatility. Okay, you can also think of this in terms of buying a call option when the stock is trading at $100 with a volatility of 40%, hoping for a move up. And the next week, it's still trading at $100, but the volatility is imploded down to 26%. Okay, we had lost a whole lot of money and the stock hasn't even moved very much. Okay, so Vega will give us an idea of the change in the call premium based on a percentage move in stock. Okay. All right, theta is an estimate of the change in option value given a 1 unit change in time of expiration, assuming all factors remain constant. How much will my option be worth in 10 days from now with little or no stock movement? Well, theta will give us an idea of how much time decay we're going to have, okay? And time decay is fairly straightforward. The more time you have in your option, the more the value the option will have. Okay, so if I want to buy an option with a year to go to expiration, I'm going to pay a lot of money for that. But if I want to have an option that expires in 2 days, I'm probably not going to have to pay that much money for that option. Okay, and that's fairly straightforward. But how quickly that time decay can be put on a chart. Okay, so this is a chart of time decay, okay? And what I want you to notice here is that it really starts to fall off a cliff once we get inside 2 weeks to expiration. That's the big key here. Right in this area right here, okay, really starts to fall off a cliff. So as you get closer to expiration, that time decay falls. And I can throw it out here and show you the stock that's trading at $100 and doesn't move as we go from 30 days expiration all the way down to 2 days expiration, and how much the time decay, actually the theta, how we'll see it on our platforms. It goes 22 cents. I mean, the call premium is at 76 cents. We have 2 days left on expiration, and that theta is 22 cents. Okay, that's valuable information. Okay, so you'll notice that when we get down to those 2 weeks there, right at about 15 cents, you'll notice it goes from like 8 to 11 to, almost 13, and then to 22 real quick. So in the last 2 weeks, it really starts increasing. Okay, Rho is the last Greek that I'm going to talk about here, and we really don't get in too deep into Rho. Okay, as options traders, we do need to know what it does and what it represents, but as a general rule, we don't really get into Rho. Okay, it's an estimate of the change in option value given a 1 unit change in interest rates, assuming all factors remain constant. Well, interest rates don't change that often. Okay, if you were trading huge amounts of options, this really would have an effect for you. If you were trading as a professional and trading for like a big firm or something like that, that would definitely make a big deal. But as regular investors, it doesn't really concern us. Okay, so it's generally of the least concern to option traders, mainly because interest rates don't move drastically during the option holding period. What I do want you to get out of Rho is that as interest rates increase, call options increase in value, and put options decrease in value, and vice versa. As interest rates decrease, call options decrease, and put options increase. So just knowing that information is valuable, but it's really not. It doesn't really affect us by trading, 10 call options at a time or 50 call options at a time.